There's a film that surpassed Citizen Kane and Vertigo and was elected by Sight and Sound magazine as the greatest film of all time. Jeanne Dielman, 23, Quai du Commerce, 1080, Bruxelles. Even the movie's title is boring. Written and directed by Chantal Akerman, this 1975 Belgian film was a landmark in feminist cinema. I disagree with praising a movie for socio-political reasons, but that will not be the subject today. Instead, we are going to examine the narrative and filmic techniques of Jeanne Dielman and see why they are not enough to make this a great movie. For 3 hours and 21 minutes you get to follow 3 days in the life of widowed housewife Jeanne Dielman as she, does her house chores. She shines shoes, she peels potatoes, she cleans the bath, she cooks potatoes. She buys groceries. She eats potatoes. She does the dishes. She brushes her hair. She mothers her creepy son.
Il dit que le sexe d'un homme, c'est comme une épée, et qu'au plus profond on l'enfonce, au mieux c'est. J'ai commencé à faire des cauchemars la nuit pour t'appeler, pour que tu restes près de moi, pour qu'il n'ait pas la possibilité de s'enfoncer en toi.
As uneventful as the ordeal appears, there is a plot of sorts going on here. Even the movie's bath is boring. Our protagonist is a thorough woman if she is anything. She's a thorough woman, she's nothing else. She goes through each action with ritualistic precision, and our loving director makes sure we get to see them all in full. She even shows us that Jeanne always turns off the lights when she leaves a room. Unbelievably enough, that will become a plot point later on. Oh, and she's a whore. No, literally, she receives a client per day in her bedroom. And her son never wonders how his single mother who's home all day has the means to support herself and him.
Everybody on the fake shit, I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up.
On the second day, things start to fall apart. She walks into a room and immediately leaves without doing anything. Oh, she forgot to turn off the lights in the bathroom. Remember that? What's it called again? Chekhov's trifle. And Jeanne overcooks the potatoes. She doesn't even know what to do with a mistake. Her life has begun to unravel. And here's what this film does to you. After she and her son get their dinner plates, we do not watch them eating and then her cleaning the table and him doing his homework. No, we skip this boring bunch almost like a normal movie would do. And you somehow think this is strange. The movie made a Pavlovian dog out of you. It made you forget what type of scene a movie's supposed to show you, giving you the most tedious expectation so you could feel uneasy when things go a little differently. Then day 3 is a mess. Jeanne turns into Butterfinger's scatterbrain. She drops a brush. She drops a fork. She goes too early to the post office. She forgets to button a button. She washes the same dishes twice. How will this day of insanity end? The only way it can. Sex and violence. God, even the movie Sex is boring. Imagine paying for sex and getting clothed missionary. Anyway, she has a surprise orgasm and does exactly what you'd expect. She picks up a pair of scissors and stabs her John to death. Which is why, dear viewers, you should never give a woman an orgasm. For more sex and relationship advice, make sure to subscribe. And the movie ends before we get to see her methodically hacking the body to bits and hiding each part in a different spot of Brussels. All the while not foregoing her son's dinner, of course. I can't believe I'd be game to watch Jeanne Dielman too. Wait, maybe even she does it every week? We never see her buying meat, do we? A new movie theory. And as you can probably see, the whole movie has truly top-notch framing. Except for some over-dark night scenes, every single shot is composed with beautiful precision. Great care is given to each set with props and dimensions perfectly in view. Height, width and depth are fully utilized. This is harmonious and painterly. I have many problems with this film, but the visuals are definitely not among them. Check this out. In the third day, when Jeanne arrives late at the cafe, someone else is in her typical seat and the director does not change the angle she used the previous day, banishing Dielman to sit on the right of the frame like some loser. Excellent representation of how tiny mistakes make her life go off-center. Well done, Chantal. Now, about those 201 minutes. I almost admire how the movie Stockholm syndromes the audience, making you get used to the minutiae of boredom, only to upset you with small imprecisions that slowly build up to a climax. This is a masterpiece of a 45-minute-long short film bloated to epic length. And despite its terrific framing and the accumulative effect of its decaying routine, it does not work. To properly explain why, let's skip to another film. This is the Turin Horse, the final film of Hungarian master Béla Tarr. Very much like Jeanne Dielman, it follows daily rituals in real time. It's another film you should recommend to just about nobody, but this one is great, and it's almost 1 hour shorter. We follow a farmer and his daughter in an isolated hut right after their horse has decided to stop working. They eat nothing but potatoes. Bummer. On the right side, they drink nothing but brandy. Good times. As they go about their routine, we get strong indications that the world is ending. Their well dries up. They have nowhere else to go and the sun goes dark, which is usually bad. They'll likely starve to death. Good times. The reason the Turin Horse works and Jeanne Dielman doesn't is not only the apocalyptic plot of the former, but how, despite its dauntingly long takes of objectively dull actions, Béla Tarr gives you enough cinematic flourishes to make you keep watching. While Jeanne Dielman has nothing but static shots, the Turin Horse has a constantly moving camera, framing one complicated tracking shot after the other and making use of every conceivable angle. There's also something moving at all times in the movie. The wind. There's a non-stop gale that adds life to shots visually and through sound. And the Turin Horse has music, which is perfect. For the mood. Music and movement, both of the camera and of the elements in frame. These are techniques that help you pay attention to the screen, no matter how drudging it might be. Jeanne Dielman has no reframing. It has no music, though she does listen to the radio, but only when her son is done with his homework.
On n'allume pas la radio aujourd'hui?
Yes, please. Chantal Akerman gives you nothing. She does not help you. She expects you to pay attention completely by yourself. Unlike Tarr, she takes the audience for granted, which makes Jeanne Dielman a film that changed my life forever. Because when I watched it, I felt for the very first time as a cinephile that I was completely wasting my life. Hello.
Hey, movie-wise, what you doing now?
Watching a movie.
Easy living, huh?
Fuck you, Jimmy. An idea does not automatically make it worth a movie. A movie does not earn the right to be watched by simply existing. Filmmakers must make the movie worth your time. There's more to life than films. Our time is precious and limited, and there are many better ways to use it than watching this woman peel potatoes. I sure hope at least some of the people who voted for it did it for its artistic compositions and unusual manipulation of narrative and audience expectation, instead of non-cinematic reasons. But ultimately, Jeanne Dielman's arrogant and entitled belief that the audience's time is disposable reminds me of these words by Oscar Wilde. All art is quite useless.